It's been something that's been happening for a long time. I get my gender mixed up all the time, especially when it comes to holy matters and what's considered to be appropriate. And I have a problem because, in order to be appropriately feminine, then the understanding is that there is a complementarity that one has to a masculine. Now, I don't have any appropriate male modeling for how to be appropriately feminine. You know what I mean? It's been happening for a long time. I don't understand what kind of man sees a homeless woman or what kind of man encounters a woman that's incredibly capable and loving and abundant and starts thinking first thing about his profit margin or his bottom line in terms of her marketability. I want to know where the men are that understand their role is to make sure men like him are obsolete. I'm hoping we're not all dead. I think maybe we have to do some sort of psychology, though. You know, men have a psyche, too. And this is something I've discussed with myself a couple of times, twice at least, very extensively. I had a concern or a theory that somebody was trying a specific kind of refining or production model during the first Gulf War. When I was growing up on a military base, something started happening to me. I used to have very, very blonde hair. My eyebrows were very blonde, my hair was very, very blonde. And then all of a sudden, my hair started getting darker. My eyebrows started getting thick. As a matter of fact, I had a monobrow grow in very quickly. And hair right here was very thick. My eyebrows grew out very thick. This is around 5th, 6th grade. It just started happening right after we moved to a new base. And I didn't really get too concerned about it at first, honestly, because I thought it meant I was growing into my man body. For a long time, ever since I was a little girl, I did not think I was supposed to be a girl. I thought I was supposed to be a boy. And I'd overheard a babysitter one day tell somebody else, "Don't worry, some girls and boys mature later than others." If it's not, they were talking about female breast development at the time. But she was saying, some girls and boys mature later than others. If it's not happening for you now, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen later. There's nothing wrong. She's trying to console the little girl. And in my head, I was like, okay. Whew. I was relieved. I'm like, it's going to happen later. There's nothing wrong with me. It's just going to happen for me later. And so when I'm going through this experience where my eyebrows are getting darker, my hair is getting darker, there's a kind of a disconnect because my mother's very concerned that my hair is getting darker. She wanted a blonde daughter. I was a blonde daughter, but my hair is getting darker, my eyebrows are growing in. So she starts trying to teach me these feminine grooming things. But it was compounded because then all of a sudden I started getting acne. Very, very, very serious acne. Horribly significant acne. And I wasn't the only one. There were other people around my age, almost exclusively male, that started to get acne. Now they say, well, when you're an adolescent, some people get adolescent acne. It's part of growing up. Okay. I had a different take on it. My understanding was I still had that thing in the back of my mind. Some people just mature later. Some people just come into it when they're later in life. And so I said, okay, well, think about it. How long is this going to last? Teenage years? Okay. I had gaps in my teeth. Maybe I can get braces now. I actually thought this to myself. Well, I want my teeth straight. Maybe I can get braces now. So while I have the acne, I have the braces too, and I go through it. And then when I get out on the other side, I don't have to worry about the acne. I don't have to worry about the braces. My teeth are straight. I'll get through the acne. It's not going to bother me, right? I mean, they're going to make fun of me. So what? Find something to make fun of me about if they want to make fun of me. Well, the teeth thing ended up changing, right? I went to the dentist one day. I said, I need braces. He said, you don't need braces. Don't ever let anyone tell you you need braces. This is what he told me. You got gaps in your teeth, but that's just cosmetic. Your teeth are fine. Your teeth are actually in very good shape. And then he told me an extra thing about the concept of filling. See, I don't have any of that new stuff they put in people's teeth. All my fillings are from when I was a teenager, and they're all silver. You understand? I never got them replaced. And I haven't had a visit to a dentist since I was 17 years old. Still got it all. Still got them all. And in my family, it's a sign of pride. I'm the first woman to make it to 27 years old without losing a tooth. Where I come from, somehow this is actually an accomplishment. But the acne thing, I started noticing who else. And what I noticed is that the people I saw that had really, really serious high school acne were very significantly drawn to heavy metal music. As a matter of fact, one day I was on the bus and one of these young men who wore one of the metal t-shirts started making fun of me. He played the alphabet game on my face. He's leaning over the back of the bus seat looking at me with two other people, and they're using their finger. They're not touching me, but they're spelling out the alphabet with the zits on my face. And I got really upset. But then I'm like, okay, well, what's going on with this guy? Because he's paying me way too much attention. Why would somebody keep trying to make fun of me and do this to me? There has to be some other thing or reason that he's interested in me. So I asked him one day, I was like, what's that shirt? And he started telling me. I'm like, what's that tape? Can I borrow it? So I asked him to let me borrow 2 tapes. One was from a group called Sacred Reich. The name of the album was Surf Nicaragua. The other one was by Metallica. I believe it was called Master of Puppets. So he let me borrow them. I took them to my house. Prior to that, I was interested in classical music. But I listened to them and I read through all the liner notes. And something happened. So then I went to him a couple days later. I said, hey, can we talk about this? And he's like, what? I said, have you read the lyrics? What do these songs mean? He's like, what do you mean? What do they mean? We started talking. Well, let's just say he didn't want to beat me up after that. And very shortly after that, him and all those little metal kids were in the gifted classes with me. Right? I have this theory that there was something about the sulfur content or the manipulation of the sulfur content in some sort of proprietary refining model, and that certain young people, for whatever reason, were allowed to have their lives used as either derivative agreements in terms of the underlying securities or the underlying securities associated with certain deals, and or specifically selected for a form of human test subject experimentation regarding cybernetic enhancement. And that one of the things that was happening is we were somehow biologically assimilating to some form of refining model that was disproportionately manifesting in a form of acne. And at some point, certain people in certain countries, which are primarily identified as Muslim countries these days, ended up getting involved in that model. It's one of the reasons you see these young women, usually university age, this understanding certain people have been predetermined to be coded to experience a particular kind of specifically dermatological or physical manifestation of something meant to undermine their confidence. Acne, herpes, hemangiomas, warts, moles, right? It's just worth noting right now. Because my concern is, what do you do if you have a country that has zero production of gas and oil, but for some reason think it's okay to set up 10-year concessions on gas and oil production, right? Because somebody missed their 10-year quota and now is trying to make the rest of the fucking world pay for it, right? Do you like me sitting on the ground like this? Does it trigger you? Does it trigger you because you stole my photos and what remained of my life when somebody else was sitting on the floor like this in another part of the world? Yeah. Well, let me tell you, where he's sitting right now and the way he's in my situs, I have qualms with that as well, right?